All right, Saagar, what are you looking at?
Well, Biden's EPA announced an ambitious new target yesterday, requiring two-thirds of new car sales in the United States to be fully electric by 2032. The 9-year effective moonshot actually starts even earlier than it sounds because the order requires that a minimum of 54% of all new cars be fully electric by 2030. This represents a titanic shift in the U.S. automotive policy that sounds nice on paper. And today, though, I really want to dive into and see if this is realistic and even advantageous. Let's start with the present day. How many electric cars are on the road? Presently, electric cars make up 5.6% of all cars and trucks sold in 2022, up from 1.8% just 2 years earlier. While that certainly is parabolic, we are still talking about what is effectively a niche market and turning it into the dominant mode of new transportation in less than a decade. Is this feasible in any way? Now, the answer is kind of yes, but the unfortunate part is that Biden has not done really anything else to prepare the world or America for this. First thing, what is the most important part of an electric vehicle? The battery. Who makes those batteries? What goes in them? Not only is it not us, but we are losing by several orders of magnitude. Today, China produces 76% of global lithium-ion battery cells worldwide, including those going into most U.S. electric vehicles. The U.S. is number 2 in rare earths, but we have a major problem. Chinese reserves of rare earth minerals required for EVs actually outstrip the entire production of what America made just last year. We have no reserves. Worse, if you look at the countries that do have them, we are not exactly on the best terms, including Brazil, Russia, and India. Why would they sell it to us and not China? We have less economies of scale for production. We have less EV sales than China, which dominates 60% of the global market. It's not like America is an easy place to actually build anything whenever it comes to mining. And critics of my position will say, well, Saagar, this presumes lithium-ion batteries remains the standard for EVs. But here's the issue. We're so far behind on EV technology, we don't even really have a chance with the second generation. China already makes up 60% of the world EV market, and it is investing heavily in a battery supply chain that both ditches lithium and includes sodium. Because they are first, quote, in 2 years, China will have 96% of the world's capacity to make sodium batteries. Now, it may sound like we may make up the ground, but it is not easy. They have been investing in this for over a decade. Graduates of top universities are studying this tech. They state subsidize the companies that make these batteries to undercut any private Western competition, and they have a stranglehold even on the largest EV makers here in the United States, like Elon Musk, who is currently building a new facility in Shanghai and appears to have no qualms with doing business with the CCP. Building an alternative EV supply chain that we would control requires an investment of a minimum of hundreds of billions of dollars, if not trillions of dollars. Right now, the Biden EV future looks like one where the dominant mode of transportation in this country is completely reliant on a country that is our main geopolitical rival. That sounds really dumb to me. Again, it can be avoided, but only with a serious Apollo-style program requiring national buy-in and absolute gobs of state-funded infrastructure, which, last time I looked at the U.S. Senate, probably not going to happen. Next, let's look at the other problem. Where will we charge these EVs? Right now, there are approximately 145,000 gas stations in the United States, which is actually a historic low. With EVs, we have about 5,300 chargers. That sounds like a lot, but it is actually not, because the average fill time on a car at a gas station is only 2 minutes, meaning that you can service thousands of customers per day. Even on a level 2 charger, on average, it takes about 4 to 10 hours to charge a car from empty to full. You can get around this with things like Tesla superchargers, which will get you a decent range in 20 minutes, but the numbers on them for publicly available, dismal. There are approximately 28,000 fast chargers distributed across the U.S. The Biden administration only has current plans to fund approximately 5,000 more. Factor in the 20 minutes or so that it will take for the average EV battery to fill up here, and you are looking at a catastrophic mismatch in infrastructure that exists today to make this a part of day-to-day life. Now, of course, this is not the only way to charge your car. You can do so at home, but this also costs money. Right now, the average cost of an L2 charger at home is around $1,000 between hardware and installation, sometimes much more. Cost that the consumer has to absorb and requires a significant upfront investment from that consumer. And that brings us to our final problem. While it certainly would be better for the climate if we switch from gas-powered vehicles to electric vehicles, even if that power comes from natural gas, any so-called transition to electric future cannot be sustained on the current power grid. A shift of 2/3 of all cars to the grid would dramatically increase the price of power across the United States for average home, basic appliances, let alone the car that you now have to charge. Which means we need cheap and abundant energy available nationwide. I have spent hours on this show laying out why the only real way to accomplish this is wide-scale available nuclear power, but here again the government is the worst obstacle. The newest reactor in the US just came online in June 2016. The one before that came online in May 1996. There is one plant in Georgia that is coming online soon, which means the grand total of nuclear reactors to come online in the last 20 or 30 years is 3. That Georgia plant that I mentioned is a cautionary tale. It started construction in 2009 and has taken more than a decade to build with huge cost overruns and very little support from the federal government. Any electric future that we live in will again require a separate Apollo program just to provide clean, reliable power on top of the infrastructure need to build EV batteries and then keep the supply chain here in the US. I don't want to sound like a doomer. Our country certainly has had the capacity to do some of these things in the past, but the past is the past. Our political system right now has no consensus, and the genuine seriousness that it would require to pull something off like this is way outside the capacity of an aged man like Joe Biden and Secretary Pete. Maybe we can fix it, but honestly, I doubt it within the next 10 years. More likely, this could be a colossal boondoggle which would inadvertently spike the price for the poorest consumers on electricity and increase demand on the existing grid for all Americans. Again, I hope to be wrong, but laying it all this way, I don't see another way. What do you think, Crystal? I mean, it's a good...
Hey guys, ready or not, 2024 is fully upon us now, and Saagar and I have been brainstorming ways that we can really up our game for this critical election.
Yeah, we rely on our premium subs to expand our coverage, to add staff, to upgrade the studio. We just want to give you the best independent coverage of this election, which is possible. So if you can help us out, become a premium subscriber today, breakingpoints.com, or the link is down here in the description video. It really means the world to us, and if you like what we're all about, this is the best possible way to keep us 100% independent, working only for you.